Howdy, welcome to How We Do Things Around Here. This is a brief intro, and then you'll see at each of those 5 steps of ins, deeper dive and a whole series of other videos to support each of those steps. But the main thing to keep in mind, this is a cycle or a process. And so as to not confuse you or I went to the dictionary and sought out the definition of cycle, which is an interval of time during which a characteristic, often regularly repeated, event or sequence of events from which flows an increase of results or forward progress. Stumbled through that, but that's the dictionary definition of a cycle. That's what we're doing here. You'll see those ins are a cycle. You see much of what we do are cycles. And once you get to leadership, you'll see a macro level leadership cycle, just like the water cycle and clouds and rain and rivers and lakes and evaporation and the cycle around and around we go. Or a process. That's a noun in case you're wondering. It's a systematic series of actions directed to some end to devise an efficient way of achieving an end result. A continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place to move an objective forward. Again, stumble through that. Go look up cycle and process in the dictionary. That's what this is. Now, 6 points to keep in mind as you go through these steps. Number 1, all of these are an overview. They're a step-by-step. They're designed to introduce you to the concept, get you familiar enough with them such that you can get going. They aren't the be-all and end-all. They certainly aren't the deep dive. Much of that's contained in the video blogs and the deeper dive and the leadership sections as we go forward. Part of my job is to train the trainer. So this is an intro for you. Hopefully you'll get much better and complementary information from the person you're working with personally. Number 2, because it's a process or a cycle, this step feeds into that step. That step feeds into the next step. If you will, the outputs from one become the inputs to the next. Think of a production line. Think of that water cycle again. The rain is the inputs to the river. The evaporation is the inputs to the clouds, blah, blah, blah. Each of these are independent steps. You can't take the clouds out of the water cycle and expect the water cycle to work. It falls apart. Same thing here. Don't shortcut any of these steps. Number 3, don't do a shortcut. It's incomplete if you do. If you say, well, that whole vision thing, that whole what's my why and source of intrinsic inspiration, yeah, man, whatever, that's kind of lame. I'm going to go straight into the invitation stage. You could, but you're going to shortcut it. And therefore, likely, after decades of experience and millions of people's data, you're going to forestall your success. You're going to delay it or make it less than it would otherwise be. Don't do that. Don't be tempted to do that. Because, number 4, this is what's proven to work. I personally have over 35 years experience in this industry at every level. Likewise, I work with people who have similar experience. And most importantly, this is my penchant, I know their data. I know what they say and I know what they're achieving. And I see the correlation or the lack of correlation there too. This is what works. So don't think you're smarter than us. You may be smarter than me, but you're not smarter than the collective. We've learned a thing or two over the years, and this system, this purposeful process is designed to be helpful to you so that you can learn from our tuition. Number 5, it's designed to complement your natural skill set. You come to us with your own wonderful series of attributes and skills, and a few weaknesses maybe. This is designed to work for and with you wherever you are. Think of it as paint by numbers. We know the outline, we know the final picture, we know where to get there, we know what works, and we're recommending blue number 5 in this square here. Do that. But then as your skill gets better, you can begin to maybe fuzz the lines a little bit, or maybe change the shade of blue just ever so slightly. Not changing the picture, not changing the steps, but adding your personal skill set and flavor and intuition to it. Please do that. Please make it yours. Don't be some non-rhythm person dancing. Be natural, be who you are, but use this framework, use this process, use this system. Number 6, which follows on from that, just use it. If you use it, if you are committed to it, if you are diligent in following it, you will be successful. How successful is up to you. How successful is a function of how dedicated and committed you are to it, and how many times you do the key tasks that are within your complete control. That which you persist in doing, you'll get better at. So do this in this framework and you'll be successful. Now, if as point 5, you have some unique skills that the rest of us don't have, because this is built for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, and not built specifically for you. So if you have some particular skill set, wonderful, use it. But hold it for a while until you've got this process or cycle down. Then add that to this. But add it not in as instead of, but add it in as well as. Do this, always do this well over time, and you will achieve a result. Bring your unique particular skill set to it in time, once you've got this down, as well as doing this. Then you've augmented what works with what works for everybody, and generally with what works for you. Do it later, do it as well as. You do that, you follow this how we do things around here, again, built out of decades of experience. You could say centuries of experience if you add all the collective wisdom together, and the data from millions of people across many markets around the globe. We know what works. These principles drive this business, and they'll make you better and more successful and help you get to where you want to go, as defined by you and for you in step number 1, your source of intrinsic inspiration. So go forward, follow these steps, review them, come back often, deeper dive on them, go to third parties to validate them. But this is what works. And if you do this, you will be successful.